Why are there ridges on Reese's peanut butter cups? Probably so they never slip from her hands. Could you imagine? I'd lose it. Luckily, Reese's thought about that. Wonder what else they think about. Probably chocolate and peanut butter.
You know that person in your life who just can't stand mayo? Call them traumatized. Call them closed-minded. We get it. They're stuck in their ways. But here's the thing. They just haven't tried Hellmann's flavored mayo. We're talking bold flavors that will flip even the biggest skeptics. Spicy mayo that adds the perfect kick to your burger. Garlic aioli that transforms ordinary fries into something extraordinary. Chipotle mayo that turns your basic wrap into a smoky sensation. So to all the mayo haters out there, yes, we're looking at you. It's time to eat your words. Because with mayo this flavorful, any hater is just a mayo lover waiting to be convinced. Hellmann's flavored mayo. Get ready to eat your words.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey, and welcome back for this Saturday series episode. Delphi, Indiana is a quiet town in the heart of the Midwest, a place where everyone knows everyone. With just under 3,000 residents, its charm lies in its close-knit community and winding wooded trails. Like the Monon High Bridge Trail, a former railroad line turned hiking path that offers sweeping views of the surrounding forest. It was supposed to be a safe place, but on February 13th, 2017, everything changed. That afternoon, best friends, 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German, set off on a hike along the Bridge Trail during a day off from school. It was unseasonably warm, a perfect day to be outside. Libby even posted a photo to Snapchat of Abby walking across the bridge. Abby was artistic, quiet, and kind. She loved photography, science, and had recently joined the school band. An only child, she was raised by her mother, Anna, who worked at a local pharmaceutical packaging company. Libby was outgoing, funny, and full of energy. She loved sports, especially volleyball and softball, and had a fierce sense of loyalty to her friends and family. She was being raised by her grandparents, Mike and Becky Patty, and her mother, Carrie, remained a strong presence in her life. When they failed to meet Libby's dad at the pickup point, family and friends began searching. The next day, their bodies were found near the trail in a wooded area by Deer Creek. Almost immediately, Libby was hailed as a hero for recording video and audio on her phone of a man approaching them, capturing the chilling words, "Guys, down the hill." The case quickly became national news, and for years, it went unsolved. But in 2022, authorities arrested Richard Allen, a local Delphi resident, in connection with the murders. Still, the full truth remains elusive, and the legal battle continues. Jane, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
How did this story find you?
Well, I remember the story. I remember seeing when it broke in 2017 and seeing the pictures of Abby and Libby, and it really struck me. It struck me just how young they are and how bright, bright lights. And then what also really struck me was the Snapchat post of Abby on the bridge. And just to think that one moment they're sending out a Snapchat and then they're gone, it stuck with me, and it took so long to solve. And then I had a production partner who came to me, and she had been on the ground in Delphi on and off over the 7 years. And she knew a lot of the people, and she knew the case inside and out. And she said, the trial's about to happen. We should partner. And that's what we did. And off we went after the verdict. We said we just hit the ground running.
How did you approach telling such a sensitive and emotional story, especially involving two young girls and their families?
I mean, I think, like, with sensitivity, I think we really vetted who we talked to, and I just think we have to approach all true crime storytelling with sensitivity, thinking about the victims first, thinking about how the families will feel. Now, that doesn't always mean that the families are going to love everything they see, and we told the families that, you might not like everybody we interviewed. You might not agree, like Kathy Allen, I'm sure. But I think that, just being honest and respectful across the board is the way to go. Our showrunner, executive producer, Grace Miller, and Hannah Shakespeare, who was another executive producer, and Aspen Connor, who was also helping with certain access in the field. It's about meeting those families where they are. And so, yes, we were dealing with two victims and three families. And each was in a different place and each had a different history with the case. Mike and Becky were front and center. Anna Williams has been a little more private, and we recognize that. And what does that mean? That means, what does that mean in terms of why, she's not a front and center person, and we had to be really sensitive to her and meet her where she was. And Carrie was, around, but also with Mike and Becky, so there was all this dynamics. And I think that you just meet them where they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, the case against Richard Allen has been complicated and controversial. How did the series present the evidence linking him to the crime in a way that you could do it in a digestible way? Because when you start to approach a complicated legal case like this, I would assume it takes some time to kind of lay it out. So how did you approach that?
This story is very dense. This case, is very dense. We had to leave some things out partly because we had 3 episodes. We only had so much time. But also, when we went back and looked at the investigation and who did law enforcement talk to and who might have been a suspect and what are some of the theories out there, they had to be solid and backed up with fact and backed up, in records. And not everything was. We did this series very soon after the verdict, so it took a lot of time to get records released. And we didn't always have the records we needed. So we had to sort through all that, but it was very, very dense. There's a lot of things to tell. And when it comes to the case against Richard Allen, we were going with what happened in court.
For viewers that may have been unfamiliar with the case, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions that you were able to clarify?
I think putting the whole story in one place. It's been pieces throughout. We are the first series or documentary series to do a 360 of this case and post verdict. Dateline did a quick one after the verdict, but a lot of things hadn't been released. So to put everything together in great detail, minute by minute, I think can help clear up misconceptions. I think there still are misconceptions in that there's still such a great debate about whether he did it or didn't do it. And there are so many rabbit holes that people are continuing to go down. I think that's very hard for the family.
So given the legal battle around his case, how did you decide what to include and exclude in terms of the trial and the charges?
There was not much transparency from the courtroom. No cameras. There was only limited amount of seats in there, which we covered in the series, how there were a lot more people who wanted to get in than could. There was no audio. And the transcripts weren't released while we were making this. So that was challenging. And we had to work with reporters who had been in the courtroom, even YouTubers who had been in the courtroom that we vetted and felt good about. Anywhere we could get information, we would get that information and vet it to make sure it was fact.
That video is pretty haunting. When you work on something that is this dense and this emotional, how do you approach that as a filmmaker? Like, are you able to turn it off at times and walk away? Do you need to turn it off and walk away sometimes?
You're making me tear up just asking that question. So I think everybody deals with it differently. I've been doing true crime for a long time, and I think there's a way that I am able to put up what do I call it? There's a way I'm able to put up compartmentalize a little bit so that I can try to be unbiased and look at this as a sort of as a documentarian and a journalist, But then you can never forget that this is real people. So it's not pretending it's not. It's just it's compartmentalization. And then there's times when times like when the video came in, the full video, and everybody on the team was watching it, and we sat down and talked about it. We sat down and talked about how we felt. It wasn't a planned thing, like let's have therapy, but it was in a meeting. We had a daily meeting on this show, and we all talked about it in that meeting and how, like I said, how it made us feel.
When you walk away from this project, what do you take with it? What do you take with you about this community, this small community, the people that live there, what this crime did to their community, and more importantly, what do you take away about these two little girls?
I mean, I think that the piece, the series, hopefully succeeds in bringing them to light a lot. I don't want to say, bringing them back again in certain ways. I think that I always think about that scene with their friends who were also little girls when they lost their best friends, and now they're young women. And I think that's just seeing them, hearing from the showrunner after that interview about how they were watching that video of Abby and Libby and pictures of Abby and Libby for the first time, and then seeing it as we edited it. I just loved that there was laughter as well as tears. And so there's that TikTok video where they're singing, and I think I carry that with me. And I would love for this town to find some peace and for the world to maybe leave them alone. I know that sounds a little hypocritical because I just made a series on them, but for, them to heal. But I think, as long as I think it's very hard for them with I think it's very hard for them that there's still so much passion behind the did he, didn't he? But then again, if someone believes that strongly that there's somebody wrongly convicted sitting behind bars, I also don't fault them for trying to repair that.
Well, how long did this project take?
This project was relatively fast. It took about 7 months. And when I say relatively fast, people were working day and night. Because like you said, there was a lot of material.
And how can people follow your production company to find out what projects you're working on?
We are Twist Media. We are under Wheelhouse Entertainment. So follow both Wheelhouse and Twist on Instagram.
Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Sue returning to narrate her 5th Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
Shopify's point of sale system helps you sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take payments in person? We've got you covered. How about card readers you can rely on anywhere you sell?
Thanks. Have a good one.
Yep, that too. Want one place to manage all your online and in-person sales? That's kind of our thing. Wherever you sell, businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/listen. Shopify.com/listen.
Carrie, I'm so thrilled that you're with me today, and I appreciate your time. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
I want to first tell you how moved I am by your daughter's story. And I was hoping that maybe you could tell me a little bit about yourself and about your daughter.
I appreciate that. Libby, it was a little ball of sunshine. I mean, I swear from get-go, she was a fighter. She came into this world fighting, and she just proved to be a warrior. She was fierce. She was always on the go, artistic, talented. She wanted to go everywhere, be everywhere, do everything. Always wanted everyone to be happy. So a big part of my life has been my kids. My two older girls lived in Indiana, and I lived here. That was hard, but all four of my girls were close, regardless of the distance between them.
So when we look at pictures of her as a little girl, she's got these like really cute cheeks, and you can see that she's got some moxie. What were some of her favorite things to eat and to do and music to listen to as a kid?
She loved ketchup.
Ketchup?
I can remember her eating ketchup literally out of the bottle. It's kind of funny. She was just kind of she wasn't afraid to try new things. So she kind of, one of my favorite memories is, I made spinach dip, and it was just your basic like spinach dip and Hawaiian bread recipe. And it never failed. 2 or 3 times a year, she was calling me for that recipe. And I'm like, it's on the back of the box, man. But that was just, she liked to cook. She always had, food videos. She was pretty into that kind of thing. So yeah, those are a lot of things I miss. But she was a good sister, like always doing things with her sisters.
What was something that she loved to do with her sisters?
Just be aggravating. They played outside a lot. They swam a lot. Just girlies dress up. She was a good big sister.
Yeah. And it almost feels like Abby was almost like a sister as well. It seems like they spent a lot of time together.
Yeah. Well, they were in a lot of activities, extracurricular. They spent a lot of time together. Yeah. I mean, it's no wonder they created a bond. They had a lot in common, and because of the things that they enjoyed, they did spend a lot of time together. They're very close and very much like sisters. Yeah.
When you think about her, what is the first thing that pops in your head?
She was wise beyond her years.
Was she?
Yeah, she was very smart. She was always willing to give advice. I remember a conversation. I was going through some issues at the time. I'd gone through a divorce, my second divorce, actually, prior to everything in 2017. And we talked a lot on the phone about, what should I do? Or, I was kind of lost and hopeless. And she was always like, Mom, you'll figure it out. She knew. And I was like, how do you know these things? You're 14. You've never been in the world. You don't really know. And she's like, I've sat and thought about it. She knew what she wanted to do. She was wise, very wise. I feel like, very intuitive to other people's needs and feelings.
When she was little, what would she say was her big dream?
Oh, she was very into science. She wanted to be even young, she was always experimenting and doing things. She wanted to, I wouldn't say at a very young age she wanted to solve crimes, but she always wanted to help people. She always wanted to fix everything, make everybody happy. So anything that she could do that was helping someone else or animals or, she's a good person in nature that, she just wanted to be helpful and kind and spread happiness, really.
When you look back at the period of time when we lost her and in the time after, what was something that you can look back and think sustained you during that time?
We have a pretty big family unit on all sides. Libby has a very huge family. I made a lot of friends. Social media was pretty integral in a lot of things. I've met a lot of people. We met a lot of people who have been through the same thing. We've had a lot of help from true crime communities and things like that. It is a double-edged sword. It's been good, it's been bad, but throughout it all, I've met a lot of people that have been very supportive and very helpful throughout it all. And knowing that getting the girls' story out also could potentially save another child's life is very, very, it's a determining factor. That's something that motivates me to try to get it, to continue this could happen to anybody. So you have to be alert. You have to, don't be silly.
What struck me so much is the story of how she recorded on her iPhone.
Yeah.
When you first heard that, what was your reaction?
I knew immediately that she knew something was wrong. She she knew what she was doing. She did that for a reason. And that it was kind of one of those atta-girl moments, like,
Yeah.
first of all, who thinks to do that? Even as an adult, I don't know that I would have considered before this to do that. Knowing that she was interested in, like loved Criminal Minds and CSI and, we were kind of into those kinds of things. I think that helped. I mean, but she also being intuitive and knowing that something just didn't feel right. So I was very proud of her at the same time of, even if she didn't know exactly what was about to happen, something made her uneasy and she was recording in, I'm sure, the hopes that whatever did happen, whatever the outcome was, she could say that, hey, this guy right here is suspect,
Mm-hmm. It was interesting to hear that the families really weren't given that much information. And I understand that's just part of the process of trying to maintain the case to keep few details from the public. What was that like for you as family members to feel in the beginning like you had so little information?
Well, I mean, that was obviously very difficult to deal with, especially because throughout the years, there were people that thought that some people or another knew more than they were telling. I mean, obviously, maybe we knew some things, but not every detail is for the public, But we didn't know any pertinent information. They kept all of the investigation to themselves. I mean, I still question 8 years later, like, why couldn't you have told us some of these things prior? Like, why did we have to wait 8 years to learn certain details? It certainly didn't make it any easier at the trial. I mean, it took 8 years, so it was like, for all that time, we had half information, or a lot of the information that we got off of social media, and you don't even know if that's true. So it was pretty difficult. There wasn't a lot really that they could tell us. They didn't. I mean, even when tips are called, it's like all these people were calling in tips and stuff, and it's not like they can call everybody and be like, okay, we're following up on this, that, or the other. Exactly. If they spent more time calling and letting you know that they were following up on your tip, they wouldn't be following up on the tip. So some things it was hard. I mean, they can't put everything out there, but it was very difficult. And I still question why did it take so long? I don't know what it would have changed knowing those things earlier, really. For me, it would have been just as devastating. It would just been earlier and then reliving it again.
I'm trying to imagine myself in a situation like that where it sounds like you're trying to manage your grief, but you're also frustrated because there doesn't seem to be any answers. Did you find that communicating with other families that had been in similar circumstances were helpful then because you're in such a unique circumstance?
I honestly didn't talk to a lot of people. I kind of shut down a lot. A lot was on social media, and a lot, it hurts a lot. I made a lot of friends, but having that community, I do know a lot of people that have lost their children, and it's terrible. It's hard reliving and talking about it a lot. And to have a community that knows what you're going through. But I think every case is different. And this was pretty, I don't want to say it's unique, like this has never happened before, but for our community, especially, it was rather traumatizing. A lot of people don't know how to, even if I do try to talk about it, like in therapy or something, they don't know. Like, you don't know unless you've experienced it. And a lot of people thankfully have not experienced it. So having some people that do kind of know a little bit and can relate has been helpful. Yes.
Movie night, date night, or solo marathon, IMDb is your ultimate entertainment companion. Discover new favorites, rate what you've watched, and never miss an episode with the free IMDb app. Curate your watch list with a tap. Get personalized notifications for your favorite shows. And find your next must-watch movie or series. From blockbusters to hidden gems, we've got you covered. Download the app now, register for free, and find your next favorite.
How hard is it to kill a planet? Maybe all it takes is a little drilling, some mining, and a whole lot of carbon pumped into the atmosphere. When you see what's left, it starts to look like a crime scene.
Are we really safe? Is our water safe? You destroyed our town.
And crimes like that they don't just happen.
We call things accidents. There is no accident. This was 100% preventable.
They're the result of choices by people. Ruthless oil tycoons, corrupt politicians, even organized crime. These are the stories we need to be telling about our changing planet. Stories of scams, murders, and cover-ups that are about us and the things we're doing to either protect the Earth or destroy it. Follow Lawless Planet on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to new episodes of Lawless Planet early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
It certainly feels like a spiderweb effect, too, that there are all of these tentacles that come with this. There are the girl's friends and the friends of the family, and of course your families of origin and your friends. And have you felt, I guess the question would be, how could you describe to other people what it feels like to be in the center of a storm like this? And how can people best support someone who is going through a similar predicament?
Yeah, to put this as nicely as possible, it's people shouldn't assume that they understand what someone's going through. But that's for anybody in any situation. It's not just this specifically losing a child or this horrific of a situation. You just never really understand what someone's going through unless you've been through it yourself. And even then, you really might not understand it. So it's hard, but to be supportive and just be there. And I guess I let us heal, help us heal. I really don't know how. It's hard to explain because other than saying I'm sorry and just being there, there's not really much that people can do. And I know it's difficult. A lot of people in this situation, this case has gone on for a really long time. I live several hundred miles away, couple hundred miles away, and I was able to have I had a support system. People I don't even know helped and donated to make sure that I was able to make it to, to hearings and to trials and to even in the beginning to try to give my kids, my younger girls, a kind of normal sense of normalcy. So people have been very helpful in this situation. I can't tell anybody how to support another, but just being there is very helpful. There's so many ways that you can help a grieving person, but it's a process that they're going to go through, and sometimes it's ugly.
Having the benefit of being having some distance, do you think that it while it may probably have helped, give you a little space? Because I'm assuming for those that live in the town, like your parents, you don't really have an escape. But then does it, on the other hand, make it difficult because you want to keep on top of what's going on in the case? So how did the distance help or hinder in your grieving process?
Now, in some ways, being farther away, it's maybe a little less overwhelming. It's kind of hard to say that because it's all very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Not being in the center. But when I say social media has been a double-edged sword, helpful-wise, there are a lot of things that get spun differently, and it can be very ugly and hurtful. So it depends on the situation.
For the 5 years that you kind of waited without answers, what was the hardest part of that?
Not knowing, because your brain fills in all the things you don't know. Like I've went through infinite scenarios as to what happened, trying to figure out, just leading up to an arrest and finding out even details then. Like your brain tries to fill in all the blanks that you don't have, so that you can have 1,000,001 or infinite scenarios that could have possibly happened. So the not knowing, it kind of eats away at you. Like, I can't imagine. I know that having her and being able to have that closure of a funeral and services and things like that, and to have an investigation I'm very thankful for, because I can't imagine having this had happened and we didn't know, we didn't have her, we didn't know, we didn't have any, any evidence or anything nothing to go on, would have made it even worse. But it was hard. It just keeps going until you finally have details. And then it's even worse, because then it's like a movie that plays in my head.
What was your reaction when you heard that there was an arrest?
I was at work at the time when Becky called me. I nearly fainted, to be honest with you, but I was obviously thankful and nervous and going through all of the emotions, because what does this mean? Where do we go from here? And that was a pretty long process in and of itself too. So we didn't really know as much. Even though they made an arrest, we didn't really know anything then either. So it kind of brought, not that we had lost hope or anything, but it kind of upped that level of hope again. Like, oh my God, we've actually got him. Seeing his face, I knew we had him. So
does your family feel like you have all the answers, that the legal process is finished and that there is, in some small way, some justice?
I can't speak for anybody but myself.
Fair.
But in my opinion, we got the guy. He's guilty. Justice, as of now, has been served. So, obviously, in our justice system, he has his right to appeals, and we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, yeah, I feel he's where he belongs. Now, is that justice? Nothing's never going to bring them back. Nothing's going to change that they're gone, and nothing's going to change what he did. So, yes and no. It is some sort of justice, yes. Like I said, we're just trying to heal and live life.
And how are your daughters doing?
Oh, this is a hard one. So I've got one that is going to be a freshman in college, moving out next week. And the same day, my youngest will be a senior in high school. So they're doing well. But Kelsey, she's got 2 babies and she's a great mom and a beautiful mom. So I would like to say that we're healing. And these girls have their lives ahead of them as well. So
how are you celebrating her every day? And I love that you named her Liberty Rose. What a pretty name. How do you celebrate her every day?
I think on many days that I could just, not get out of bed. Some days are really, really hard. But living every day, getting up and putting one foot in front of the other, even though it's hard. One of her phrases, even to quote her, would be to smile brightest on your hardest days. So shine brightest on your hardest days, through your hardest times. We just, I live for her. We live for our kids, not just her. I have the girls to be very proud of and uplift them as well. So just knowing, I think she would be happy that I'm raising her younger sisters to also live full lives as well, and that they're going to be able to do that in spite of what's happened.
I often ask guests this one question, and it's interesting how the answer really is different for each person. And it's a big question, but it's a personal one, and that is, what do you know to be true?
I know that we caught Libby's killer and Abby's killer, and that he's going to spend the rest of his life knowing what he did, with the public knowing what he did. If you want to call that justice, that's not really closure. None of this will ever, this feeling will never go away. She's always going to be gone. But just that justice in its own way has been served.
And what's your advice for the parent that's listening to this who may be in the beginning stages of a deeply painful, traumatic experience, and they're wondering how to just get up out of bed every morning? What advice would you have for them?
That's hard because everybody's different, and it takes time, but take care of yourself, because the world is a better place with you in it, regardless of what you're going through. I know it's hard, and the world needs you, and you're stronger than you know, honestly.
I'm so glad that we are learning so much more about your daughter through the process of this series. And she really did seem to have such a light about her, but she seemed pretty fierce. And I love that you pointed out that she was so wise. And I wonder what she would have become. Maybe she would have worked in law enforcement. Who knows? But I just love this idea of a young girl, someone of that age, having so much emotional strength. And that is says so much about the way that she was raised. And I'm grateful that you are able to share her story in our life with us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like we all kind of have our experiences. Life is hard for everybody, but it makes it what our experiences make us who we are. And, she would have done great things if she were still here. She's still touching lives and doing great things, even though she's gone.
I think so.
So, yeah, I'm very proud of that. She'd be very proud of the fact that even though she may have made mistakes in her, mere 14 years and very short life, the mistakes and things that happened in her life are going to lead to helping others. She's not what happened to her. And even though this did happen, it brought light to a lot of other things that were happening around. A lot of other cases were solved. A lot of other people were brought to justice. So I think that she would be very proud of that. And if in any way she's able to save or help another, set of best friends that are out trying to have a fun day, then she did everything, That's a pretty successful life, even though she was only 14.
It's a life well lived, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful for your time, and I'm sending so much love to you and to your daughters and to your entire family. And again, thank you so much for sharing her story with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of the people who have supported us and helped us. I don't know how we would have gone through without a lot of people. So too many to name, but a lot of people. And I appreciate it.
Mr. Gecko, you're a huge inspiration to us all. But who was your muse?
My dear old Nan. She would tell me, always remember to be true to yourself and to use that fast and friendly claim support on the Geico app. I follow her advice to this day.
Get more than just savings. Get more with Geico.